Hello out there, my name is Benjamin and I welcome you to the world of designing using Adobe Photoshop with Blabend solutions. So in this video and the series of videos to come, I will be showing you everything you need to know about Photoshop, starting rightly from the beginner's level, that is to say from the basic level to the advanced level. But before we begin, thank you so much for clicking this video. If you are new here, kindly comment, share, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check the bell icon so as to be notified whenever we release our new videos. With this being said and done, why don't you come along with me and I'll show you the best and easiest way to make beautiful design works using Adobe Photoshop. Thank you so much for joining me once again. In today's video, I'll be taking you through the panel or the palette. Thank you so much for joining me once again. In today's video, I will be teaching you about the panels or the palette. So on my screen, you can have a view of three panels in here. We have the color panel or the palette, the adjustment panel, we have the layers panel as well. Amongst these three active panels, we have other panels, but these are the only three active panels currently. Amongst these three, the most important one is the layers panel. So I'll be talking about the layers panel into details. I'll urge you to pay careful attention. If you don't get anything, re-watch the video again, and if you still don't get anything, don't hesitate to send me your questions, drop the questions in the comment box below, and I'll be very glad to answer them for you. So to begin, I'll start with the layers panel. The layers panel is used to create, manipulate, and modify layers. The layers can be anything that Photoshop can create or import separated from other elements in an image. So you can see that with my canvas here, it has its layer in here. So any objects that you import onto the Photoshop application automatically creates a corresponding layer for it. The same way when you try creating using any of the tools, Photoshop creates a corresponding layer for it. What do I mean by that? When I go in for this tool, for example, and I drag to create something like this, you can see that in my layers panel in here, it has created a layer for it. So anytime I want to make modification to that object, I have to make sure I'm on the right layer. Let me draw another object like this, for instance, and you can see that's also created another layer for me. It is the same thing that applies to all layers. Make sure you are on the right layer before you can make edits to or changes to the objects you want to make changes to. To better understand this, let's take a view of this image I have in here. I created this 6 months ago. Taking a closer view of this image we have in here, you realize that we have created so many objects onto the canvas area or the canvas size. We have the text, we have the shape, and we have images as well. Now all these things comes with their corresponding layer. So anytime I want to work on a layer, for instance, if I want to work on this layer Wednesday, I would come into the layers palette, scroll through to see if I would find the layers palette, and this is my Wednesday. If you check in here, you can see that there is a picture like an eye. Yeah, there is an eye. but that is known or called the layer visibility. You either press it to turn the active layer off or on. So currently the layer Wednesday is off, sorry, it's on. If I check it, it goes off, and you could see that. With this same image, let me use it to talk about the other stuffs that are associated with the layers panel. You could see that we have so many layers in here. We have a bunch of layers in here, so many of them. Now we can rearrange layers so as to So for instance, we have in here Wednesday 6 a.m. domain market. This is the second, and this is the third. So when we come in here, we can arrange the layers the same way. So Wednesday begins. So how to arrange them? Just hold the layer in here, drag beneath it till you see this white line like this, then you drop it there. The same applies to this one. Hold, and when you see it, take it wherever place you want to take it. When you see that white line, just drop it in there. That is for the arrangement of the layers. Again, we can group layers. To group layers, we select the number of layers we want to group, then we group them. So to select a layer, just click to select. But hey, I'm clicking and it's reselecting the layers. How do I do multiple select? To do multiple select, hold your control key on your keyboard, then with your first layer selected, click on the other layers you want to add to the group. Just keep holding the control key and keep pressing till you are done selecting. When you're done selecting, just press Ctrl J. That is the shortcut key to group layers. Ctrl J. That is the shortcut key to group layers. What about the other way to group a layer? Let me undo this. To undo, Ctrl Z. Ctrl Z does a single undo. To do multiple undo, add the Ctrl Alt Z to it. So Ctrl Z does one undo, Ctrl Alt Z does multiple undo. Okay, good. So the other way to group the layers is, you could see that down in here we have other options that you can choose from. This is to delete a layer. When you hover your cursor around it, it tells you what it does. So this is to delete a layer, this is to create a new layer, this is to group a layer. So if you are done selecting, just hold and drag this and bring the cursor in here and leave it this way, and you've grouped them. How about you naming a layer for easy identification? Yes, you can do that. So how do you rename a layer? Just bring your cursor in here like this. So let's say we have this shape in here. I want to rename this shape to a better name that I can easily identify. What is this shape for? Okay, that is a yellow shape on top of the white shape. So I'm going to rename this. Just double tap the middle section and just give it a name. So I can give it a name, yellow horizontal rectangle. And when you're done, just hit enter and you've renamed the layer. So when I'm looking for this layer, I know this is it, and for easy identification. Let us now take our time to explore these opacity and fill color, as in the opacity and the fill. With the opacity determines to what degree it obscures or reveals the layer beneath it. A layer with 1% opacity appears nearly transparent, whereas one with 100% opacity appears completely opaque. With this, you can see there's a drop down arrow in here. Just click on the drop down and we can scroll to reduce the opaqueness or to reduce opacity of the shape. So you can see that the shape was actually yellow, but once I reduce the size of the opacity, you can see that it is gradually decreasing its opaqueness to transparency. The same way, if I increase the opacity, it increases the opaqueness of the shape. That is the work of the opacity. So can we apply opacity to images? Yes, we can. Let's take a look. Let's practice it. So scroll so this is our image. Make sure you selected the image that you want to work with, and let's reduce the opacity, and you can see that I'm reducing the opacity of the image. That is the opacity. I've reduced the opacity, and now I've increased the opacity of the image. Let's take a look at the fill as well. With the fill, it works perfectly as the opacity, but there is a slight difference. I'm going to show you the slight difference in here. Sorry. So now let me create a shape with an outline. So I have my shape in here. So let me choose an outline color of, let's say, red. So I'm just going to create something like this. Sorry. Now what just happened, let me take my time to explain what just happened. I created a shape, and you see that you will notice that this shape is on top of this shape. So when I try to bring it, it is hiding. I can't see the shape any longer. It is because in the layers palette or in the layers panel, the layer is found beneath this object or this image here or this shape here. So anytime you want to reveal or hide a shape, you either put the shape on top or beneath the layer. So if I want to bring this object here, this very object on top of this object, all I have to do is come to the layers panel in here, hold and drag this on top like this, and I have, I'm going to undo that. So I'm going to hold this and bring it on top here, and it is on top of the object. Now you can see that it is also beneath the text and the shapes that I have in here. It is the same thing that you can do. Just hold, drag it on top, and you can see that I have it on top like this. So that is how to arrange layers. So make sure to get that as well. I can take this up this way, and I'm still on top of the other layers. Now with the fill color, notice something. You see that the outline color is red and the fill is blue. I'm going to decrease the fill and not the outline. So while I decrease the fill decreases, but the outline still remains. So if you want something like this, that is when to use the fill filter. Okay, so I'm going to increase the fill like this. Alright, so that is it for the layers panel. Let's now move on to the adjustment panel. The adjustment layer allows us to apply non-destructive editing such as color and tonal adjustment to images. Example of these adjustments are brightness, we have the hue, saturation, we have the level, we have curve, we have gradient, solid color, etc. We will delve into details later on in the video, so please stay tuned. Now these adjustments are placed on separate adjustment layer so that the image you are working on isn't altered. What I mean by this is that if we have this image in here, okay, and we choose an adjustment layer, we choose to work with either the brightness. It doesn't work directly on this image. Any editing we make does not affect this image. It automatically creates a new layer on top of the image, so all the editing is on that image, and therefore though you see it as it has affected the original image, but it has not affected the image at all. It has not affected the image at all. So first of all, create an adjustment layer on this image, for instance on this image. But before we do that, let me group all these layers, so I put them off to have a special view of this. So to do that, I'm going to select the first, hold my shift key, and I'm going to group this. Shift key, then group, Control J, then group. Good. So I have my image in here. This is my full image in here. There's my full image in here, and I'm going to work with the brightness. So select the brightness like this, and this is what I was saying. It creates a separate adjustment layer so that the image we are working on isn't affected or altered. Okay, so I can increase the or decrease the brightness and increase the contrast, and that is how to work with the adjustment layer. So anytime you create an adjustment layer, it creates a separate layer for you, that all the modifications you do doesn't affect the original image. So this is the brightness or the adjustment layer. When I turn this off, you see that this image is different from this image, and this is the original image, it is different from this image. You can see that I've adjusted the image. That is the work of the adjustment layer. Let's move on to talk about the swatches. So the swatches panel contains a number of pre-selected colors that we can choose from. We can create our own swatches. We can create our own swatches as well as load other color sets. So this is the swatches panel, and this is the color. This is pre-selected colors that we can choose to select from. Alright guys, this brings us to the end of today's video lessons. I believe you learned something new in here. If you did, please do me the favor by clicking the subscribe button. If after doing that, make sure you check the bell icon to all, and so as to be the first person to be notified whenever we drop in our next video. Don't also forget to like, share, and let me know what you think about the video as well. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comment box below, and I'll be very glad to answer them for you. Until I come your way next time, it is still Black Ben Solutions, and see you in the next video.